Good morning. It has been a while since I've done a live show from the passenger seat, the driver's seat of my truck. Um, Very glad I'm back in my truck. I can tell you that. Yeah. Oh, I'm just stopping for the night. Actually, I drove until it's like 4:05 a.m. now. So I just got done doing my post trip and gonna shut down for I think 7 hours, maybe 7, 8 hours. I don't have that far to go. I mean, I still have 1,000 miles to go in this trip. Um, go to bed? No, Sterling. I just got done for the day, man. I'm kind of wide awake. Uh, but yeah, I still got 1,000 miles to go. I'm going from Iowa to Boston, Massachusetts, actually just north of Boston. But yeah, I wanted to go live real quick and talk about like driving at night and why I really love driving at night and why I think it's more economical for me to drive at night. Sounds crazy, I know, but I love it. Um, is it hard to drive at night? Changing up your schedule? Not really. The fact that I run reefer freight makes it super easy for me to switch up my schedule. I mean, the reality is a lot of my deliveries are at the crack of dawn or late at night, and that goes for shippers and receivers. Um, so running at night doesn't really bother me. And the only thing you really have to like compete with and at nighttime is the critters. You know what I mean? The deer and foxes, and depending on where you are, sometimes bear. I've ran across bear in the middle of the night out in Virginia, out in the hills of Virginia and like North Carolina. Other than that, you don't have anything to worry about. The lanes I run, oh, I always have to go through Chicago. I mean, and I'm not saying Chicago is like the most like craziest place. I mean, I've been to Atlanta, and the traffic in Atlanta was absolutely nuts. But I do not like driving through Chicago anytime during the day. I don't care if it's after morning rush hour, before evening rush hour. I've been stuck in Chicago countless times for like excess of like 3.5, 4 hours just trying to get through it. So running at night, I typically don't have to deal with any traffic um, in Chicago, and I don't have to deal with any traffic on the road. And for it to be economical for me, I drove like 450 some miles today after getting loaded. Uh, and I set my cruise control to 57 miles per hour on Highway 80 and didn't impede any traffic and got great fuel mileage, above 8 miles a gallon. Um, so it just makes sense for me to drive at night. You know what I mean? I really don't mind it. Uh, See what Sterling has to say here. I just finished editing a pretty cool video, only 7 minutes. It'll be produced later. By the way, I'm not. I'm a night driver too. Yeah, I love driving at night. Um, Full deer bumper. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Sterling. I've hit two deer in my life, and both times are in the middle of the day. I hit a deer once on lunch break at work at like 12:30 in the afternoon, and then I hit another one about 3:30 in the afternoon when I was going out fishing. I didn't get to fish that day. That sucked. But yeah, I've never hit an animal at night. You know what I mean? Both times I've hit animals, it's been during the daytime or afternoon, I guess. Um, but yeah, I don't mind driving at night. I would say the hardest part about driving at night is finding a spot to park when your shift's done. Um, I got lucky. I found a truck stop here in Illinois where I am that had, like, I'm in the very back part of this lot, and there's two spots available. Now, I did something that I typically never do, is I actually pulled into this spot. I actually, yeah, I'm off the pavement by like maybe this much, so my trailer's not hanging out. But truck's like parked diagonal, and I couldn't back into the spot. I tried. So I ended up turning around and just pulling into the spot. I don't like taking spots up that aren't like designed to park in because I'm afraid maybe I'm going to get hit that way. But yeah, that's probably the biggest downside of driving at night is just finding a spot to park when your shift's over. But yeah, I don't know. It feels good to be back in my truck. I can tell you that. Feels good to be making money. I did one load already. I picked up my second, heading out east, and then hopefully going to work my way back to the Midwest. I have to be home. I have to be home like June 3rd. June 3rd or June 4th. My daughter has a graduation on June 5th. Sunday is when she graduates from high school, which is crazy in my mind to think I have a daughter graduating high school. Doesn't seem like that long ago I was in high school. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to go live for a little bit, see who was up. Sterling, you came through. That's cool. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna relax and I don't know what I'm kind of hungry, but I don't like eating before I go to bed. Um, I'm not really tired right now, but like I said, I'm only gonna shut down for 7, maybe 8 hours, and then I'm gonna get back on the road. Um, I don't deliver till Wednesday morning at like 10 in the morning, but I kind of want to go and stop by the Erie Canal and stuff like that on this trip. So I want to get some miles in so I can enjoy some time. Maybe stop and get a good meal. There's a restaurant I ate at not that long ago in Buffalo, New York, that had really good steak. So I think I might go there again and eat. But the only way I can do that is if I get some miles in and kind of give myself a day to do nothing. I have to go shopping too. I have to buy some groceries. So yeah, I don't know. I would I understand that there's all types of different freight and there's all types of different freight hauling. But if you have an opportunity to drive at night, try it. I would recommend trying it. Like I said, I drove all day, all night tonight, about 8 hours, I guess it was. No, 7 hours. Um, and I didn't have to slow down or speed up one time. I set my cruise control to 57 miles an hour, and we just drove. Um, yeah, and you can do that all a lot when you drive at night. Um, you just have to prepare for it. And what I mean by that is, for me, like if I know I'm getting, I'll show up someplace early, right? And let's be honest, a lot of cold storage facilities, whether you're getting loaded or unloaded, take a long time. I mean, that's just part of this deal. If you're a reefer hauler, you're going to spend a lot of time in docks. Um, I sleep. I take long naps, and then I'm good to go for the night. That kind of like tonight. My appointment was 6 o'clock in the morning, or sorry, 6 o'clock at in the evening, and I think I left there finally at like 9 something, 9:05 at night. Um, and then just drove. And I slept for about 3 hours waiting to get loaded, 2.5, 3 hours to get loaded. And almost the whole time I was there, I slept actually. Watched a little bit of hockey, not that any of you care, but I love hockey. So, and you know what? I'll talk about it real quick. Um, if you enjoy hockey, I highly recommend you watch the Battle for Alberta, and that is the Calgary Flames versus the Edmonton Oilers. It is a fantastic series right now. Great game tonight too. Connor McGregor or Connor McDavid is absolutely ridiculous. That guy is such a talented hockey player. So I watched a little bit of that. I watched like the end of the second and the third period of that game. Um, Caught a couple of the other games. I turned them on, but obviously didn't watch them when I was driving. Just had them playing through the Bluetooth speaker that I have, so I could follow along. But yeah, been pretty easy getting back on the road. Um, you know, I'm just glad the saga of the shop's over. To be honest with you, I'm I'm tired of dealing. I was tired of dealing with people. I will say this: I'll put a video out explaining the costs of the breakdown I had. But I will say this: am I like really satisfied with the work they did? No, I'm not. But I will say they were super professional. The owner of this shop, and this is a big shop in the metro area of Minneapolis and St. Paul. And it's a big independent shop. That's something to keep in mind too. It's not a dealership. It's nothing like that. Uh, he was super professional. And you know what? He had scheduled a meeting with me, and we sat down and talked for like an hour and a half, kind of about what was going on with my truck, how I can maybe get some money taken off for their like inadequacy to get my truck done in a reasonable amount of time. I did find out that the tech that broke my flywheel housing, clutch housing, bell housing, whatever you want to call it, ended up getting terminated. Now, he didn't get terminated because he broke the part. That played a role in it, but he didn't tell anybody. So when I didn't get a phone call for 2 days, kind of figuring out what was going on with the truck, they were supposed to update me every day. The reason I didn't get a phone call is he never told anybody. He just wrote a work order up to order the part. And finally, like the shop manager and the owner of the shop kind of were like, well, what's going on with this truck? So they walked out to it and found out that he had broke more than one thing, by the way. It wasn't just the flywheel he broke. I ended up finding out later he broke another thing that I'll talk about in the video when I discuss how much the breakdown and everything cost me. But yeah, so he ended up getting terminated, which, you know, I feel bad that somebody got terminated while they were working on my truck. But, you know, it's you're very close, Sterling. You are very close. Um, but yeah, I mean, he kind of deserved to be terminated. But in the end, will I use that shop again? Probably not. I actually am not impressed with the body work they did on my truck either. So when I get back to Minnesota, the owner said, just drop your truck off again and I'll get the stuff fixed for you. I'm sorry. I mean, he was very apologetic, but also like pissed off at his people. Um, and then to make the saga even worse is when I picked the truck up and took it, I made it about 40 miles. And in that 40 miles, I counted that my clutch slipped 12 times, right? Well, they sent out a mobile tech. He couldn't figure it out. So I went back to the shop, had to drive another 40 miles back to Minnesota to have them look at it. When they hooked the computer up, the clutch had actually slipped like 127 times. Some ridiculous number. Not to the point where you could see it like jump on the RPMs, but because it's the best way I can describe my transmission is like an I shift. It's an M drive transmission. So it's a automated manual transmission. So your clutch actuator in my truck is the robot that controls my clutch. And for some reason, when they programmed it, it was messed up. So I got back to the dealership, or not the dealership, the shop, and waited about an hour and a half, and they ended up fixing the problem. And here I am now. I mean, the truck's running great. I couldn't be happier now. But it was one thing after another. And it, when somebody screws up and takes accountability, and you kind of want to give them the benefit of the doubt, that's kind of where I am with this shop, because I found some really interesting stuff out while I was in this meeting with this guy that I think I could develop a really good relationship with this shop. The problem is I can't get that sour taste out of my mouth about how things were overlooked. Multiple things were overlooked. my hood almost fell off. When I when I checked the oil one day, the day that I was at the shop, um, I opened my hood and my hood almost fell off. And that's because the body shop didn't fix the what do you call them? Like the arms or the stabilizers. You know, when you open the hood and it has the hood arms that stop the hood from flipping over. Well, mine were destroyed when that truck rear-ended me, right? And they never fixed them, and they never even reconnected them. So I tipped the hood up, and the hood almost falls off the truck. Well, I call the owner of the shop. I'm like, hey, dude, you need to come out to my truck and look at this. And he did. And he was just, I mean, his face was bright red. He looked like he wanted to kill somebody. So they fixed everything that they could with me there because I had to get back on the road. I had to keep work. Or I wanted to work. I didn't want them to take my truck for another week. But, you know, I think they lost the opportunity to try and develop a relationship with me because I'm not happy with the body work they did, all the things they missed, the stuff they broke. I mean, yes, I saved some money, but it should never have gotten to that point. So now here we go. I gotta look for a shop again, and that's not something I have had really good luck doing yet. Um, Sterling says, to be honest with you, I'm so close to selling the truck because I can't get it fixed correctly. A friend of mine has 15 trucks, tore her out for 6 months. Oh my God, back ordered. Yeah, Sterling, that's an issue. I will say this, and this is not a topic I've heard anybody really talk about, and I hinted at it the other day twice. Um, I'm wondering if there isn't some manufacturers that are creating this part shortage. And what I mean by that is my flywheel housing, bell housing. When I called Mac, now I called Mac after not being able to really find it online, right? Well, so did the shop. Mac told me that it would be like 3 to 6 months for me to get a new flywheel housing. Well, I think I shared that what we decided to do was take weld the fracture that was in my bell housing and order the part through Mac as a catastrophic part, meaning the truck isn't going to operate without that part. We got the part in 5 days. You know, after me calling them and asking for the part and them telling me that it was 3 to 6 months out, they told the shop the same thing. The minute we ordered the part as a catastrophic replacement, it showed up in 5 days. I mean, that seems kind of odd. And what Mac had told us they were going to do, when I say us, I'm talking about me and the owner of the shop, was they were going to manufacture the part. Kind of like what Cat does. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Cat, but the company I used to work for, if we couldn't find the part, Cat would manufacture it for us. Well, that's exactly what Mac did, supposedly, is manufactured this flywheel housing and got it to the shop within 5 days. Something seems fishy there. At least, at least to me, that seems fishy. Um, Sterling says, "Gosh, it's almost like you know what? Maybe I'm getting tired because my eyes are kind of blurry." Sterling says, "Parts suppliers are serving their most lucrative customers first. Small guys are not a priority." Yeah, I would agree with that. And honestly, I think unless you have a very solid relationship with a mechanic or some shop, that's always going to be the case. I mean, especially if things are tight and parts are in kind of high demand. the small guy's always going to take a back seat to, the bigger guys. You know, that goes for everything though too. Hold on a sec. But yeah, I don't know. It's been nice to be back on the road. Um, things are tight. Even being leased onto a carrier, things are tight. Things aren't what they were. Fuel obviously is still crazy expensive. However, I know there's only 5 people in here, and I'm sure what I'm about to say you all already have it. If you don't have mud flap, you're doing yourself a disservice. And I won't even say my code for mud flap. Go use Cash is King. Go use DIY Semis promo code to sign up for mud flap. Now I have 4 fuel cards. 2 of them are provided by my carrier, and I have 2 of my own. And today I saved $1.04 per gallon using a mud flap stop. And the pump price was still 10 to 15 cents cheaper than the Loves and the TA that it was right by. So yeah, use mud flap. And so I do trip planning. And what I mean by that is I plan out my trip before I go. I kind of plan out my fuel stops. I search all my fuel cards along the way. Now, I understand that fuel prices right now are changing daily, but it gives me a good idea of what I'm going to pay for fuel and where I should stop and get fuel. And there's also a mud flap stop right by where I'm delivering in Boston that today it was $1.02 savings off the pump price. And that was crushing my fuel cards. I think my best discount in Massachusetts is like 51 cents. You know, yeah, if you don't have mud flap yet, the app that saves you fuel or saves you money on fuel purchases, go get it. Like I said, I won't even say my code. Use Cash is King's code or DIY semis and download that app and just check it. Check it like you do your regular fuel cards. You'd be surprised. Trust me. But enough about trying to sell mud flap. Don't drink Tef at 4 a.m. It'll make your not smell. Yeah. Maybe I should try doing that. No, that's a joke. Well, like I said, I'm kind of hungry, but I'm also a little wound up. So I stopped and got a cup of coffee at I think it was some sort of travel center, obviously. It wasn't a TA. Maybe it was a TA. I don't remember. It was somewhere in Iowa. And they had a brew of coffee called Midnight Brew or something like that. And I'll tell you what, man, I swear they got like speed in their coffee or something. Because I drank about half the cup of coffee and I was all of a sudden like just geeked out, man, like super focused. And I finished this cup. I think there's one little sip left. I finished this cup of coffee like an hour and a half ago, 2 hours ago, and I'm still wide awake. Which is fine. If I take longer than 7, 8 hours off, I got a lot farther than I thought I was going to today. I didn't get all the way to where I wanted to, but I got a lot farther than I thought I was going. But yeah, how's everybody doing? Sterling, have you slowed down in your truck at all? I mean, all day today I drove 57 miles an hour. This morning or this afternoon when I woke up and I had to drive about 100 and this was a big deadhead. I deadheaded at 180 miles to pick up this load. And I typically don't like doing that. I like to try and stay in like a 10% range. But the broker the broker paid basically for my deadhead. Gave me a couple hundred extra bucks, which I thought would cover the fuel for the 180-mile deadhead. And even the deadhead this afternoon to pick the load up and then driving to Illinois where I am now, 57 miles an hour all day. And I think I'm gonna do a test and see if I can do that this whole trip. Now, that means I'm going to have to not take some toll roads because I do not want to impede traffic. But I'll tell you what, when I'm getting over 8 miles a gallon in my Mac at driving 57 miles an hour, I think I'm going to do it right now. Like, I think it makes economic sense for me to do it. Oh yeah, you slow down to 58. Yep. You know, have you noticed you're saving some money? You know, and I understand it's not hundreds and hundreds of dollars, but it is over the course of time. Like, we're talking tens of thousands of dollars. If you can save 1 mile per gallon, 1 mile over the course of the year, you're going to save in excess of $20,000. That's a ton of money. So that's one downside about the Mack truck is the fuel mileage isn't the greatest. 13 miles a gallon bobtail, yeah. This afternoon when I drove to where I picked this load up at, I was empty, but I was still pulling my wagon, and I was at 10.3 miles a gallon pulling my wagon empty. I will say the over 8 mile, I think it was 8.5 I'm getting on my tack. I'll have to do it on paper, which sometimes is more than that, what my tack says. But I only have like 30,000 pounds in my box. So I'm what, like 63,000 pounds. I'm not heavy. But still, if I can get that instead of 7 miles a gallon going 65 miles an hour, the difference, I mean, it is going to be a longer difference, when you're driving 1,000 some miles, but if I can save, money by driving slower, I'm going to do it, especially if I have time to do it, you know. Um, and if I work this schedule the right way, I won't be impeding anybody when I'm driving slow at 57 miles an hour. And I can stay off some of the toll roads and take Highway 20 and Highway 2 all the way to Cleveland if I want to. And then I'll take 90. I don't mind paying the tolls in New York, but if I can stay on non-toll roads where the speed limit's only 55, maybe 60 miles an hour anyways, hell, I can do 57 miles an hour almost the whole trip. But like I said, especially driving at night, which is fine. Oh, yeah. How's everybody else doing? You guys just starting your day, or are you ending it? I picked this up today. Velveeta with the shells. I haven't had this in years. I kind of want it right now, but like I said, I don't like eating before I go to bed. I don't know why. I just don't. Try and stay somewhat fit. And if I eat before I go to bed, I'm just gonna continue to pack on the pounds. That's one thing. I think if I ever really wanted to lose weight, I eat a lot of carbs. Now I do stay active when I'm in my truck. Um, I walk a lot. I don't run anymore, but like I'll ride bikes or walk on a treadmill at a gym. If I see a gym that I belong to, I'll stop if I can, or at the truck stops, I'll go in and work out. I'm not pumping iron in the truck, but you know I stretch, I stay active. But I know if I wanted to drop some weight pretty quick, I'd follow Cash is King and do what he's doing, like keto diet or whatever, and eliminate some carbohydrates because I do eat a lot of carbohydrates. uh, sandwiches, and a lot of start. I like potatoes. You know, if I quit eating those things, I know I could drop probably 10 pounds right away. I mean, I'm not really overweight or anything though either, so I don't have to quite worry about that yet. Uh, I'm off to bed. Catch you later. But yeah, Sterling, thanks for stopping in here, man. Thanks for all the comments too, bro. See you tomorrow, maybe. Um, yeah, I don't know. Anybody got anything they want to talk about? A couple people still in here. If not, I can wrap it up. But yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think what else happened today. Nothing real interesting. Very, very lazy day. Very non-eventful day. Um, took a while to get loaded. That's typical though. Um, yeah. Oh, you know what? I set up. I have what do you call those? Like windshield visors or whatever to block the sun visors. And I have two of them, so it stretches like one right here, and then the other one's blocking the passenger window. I was thinking about getting one for here, but I was online and I found like pre-cut visors, like window shades that they cut to the design of your truck. And it looks like they have like a little suction cup on them where they cut them for your two passenger windows and one for your windshield. Just curious if any of you have those. I might invest in that. They weren't that expensive, but I also am looking at what I have, and I think if I went out and bought one more, I could do that myself. Like I could not fabricate. I could just cut it, get my knife out and cut these whatever you call them. Frickin', what are they called? Sun blocker? Whatever. You know what I'm talking about. How do I forget what they're called? Anyway, I'm thinking I might do that. Might either order them or I might buy another one and cut them because getting tired of getting made fun of my towel that I hang here. I am part of Towel Gang though. Join in Towel Gang. So yeah, you know some hard truths too. I had a buddy that I was talking to today who thinking about changing his career, and this guy's got some money, right? And he was like, I think I'm gonna become. I would like to do like hot shot or get my CDL and become a truck driver like you. And him and I were talking for quite a while today, about 45 minutes. And the hard truth about being an owner operator that I didn't really realize, right? And you might make fun of me for this or whatever, um, is that there's months you don't make any money, you know. And I've had multiple months like that. The beginning of this year has not been like very kind to me. Um, and that's something I definitely overlooked in all my preparing I did before I purchased a truck is you have to understand that there might be months you don't make any money. And I will say this too. I think if you have the right kind of like mentors, people that kind of help you along the way, they'll steer you in a direction to where, like what we just got out of the hottest freight market any of us have ever seen, I was able to set a lot of money aside and not like overpay myself. So even though your business might not make money, right? Like you'll generate money, but you can have breakdowns and costs of things that at the end of the day you're in the red for the month. You know what I mean? You're not making any money. But hopefully you've structured your business to where you can still give yourself an income, you know? I've been doing a lot of thinking about that because I've shared before my biggest fear in this is not being successful. And I don't deem success on like, the cars I drive, the house I live in, the things I own, the clothes I wear. That's not success. Success to me is like living a good life, and I understand we're all different in what we determine as a good life. I will explain for me. I want to make sure, first and foremost, all my bills are taken care of at home. First and foremost, I want to make sure that what I'm doing can provide me a livelihood to take care of my responsibility. The second thing I determine success on is, okay, am I enjoying what I'm doing? Do I feel like I'm being productive? The third thing is there any money left over that I can save for my future? Right? Fourth thing, is there any money left over for me to like give to my family? And what I mean by that is like go on a vacation. Now, we've never been a family that goes on like super extravagant vacation. Um, my wife and I have, but the kids, we'll go to like South Dakota for a family camping trip for a week, or we'll go. Both my kids play sports, and they both play club sports, so they travel. Especially my oldest, has traveled all over the country. I mean, all over the country. So like we'll use those as like kind of vacations where a couple of years ago, we went out to New York and New Jersey for a softball tournament. Well, we ended up staying a couple extra days to go do tourist stuff, you know. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking about lately. Is with everything kind of going on in the world and what's going on in the freight market right now and with fuel. I've heard people say, "Oh, there's places shutting down, to get their fuel pumps ready for $10 a gallon," which is nuts. But do you remember the last time we started hearing all that stuff? The Y2K scare? Do you remember that? Like all of our computers were going to crash. All these companies were going to lose all of their files and everything. And in reality, it went pretty smooth. Now, I understand there was probably a lot of people in the background, a lot of software engineers and things like kind of rewriting some code and things like that to make the transition from, you know 99 to 2000. But you know what, it moved pretty smoothly. And I don't understand how. I mean, pumps already have like a zero behind or in front of the number. um yeah, I thought you were going to bed. Yeah, we did survive Y2K without a, like, I was pretty young. I mean, I was 20 years old, but I don't remember like the financial district shutting down and things like that. And I remember, like, I guess that'd be like the first scare that I remember the news always talking about is what's going to happen in Y2K and all, like energy. How are we going to get lights on? Like, all the computers can't handle this. And I don't remember anything like that. So I'm not saying they're not closing down stations and things. I just find it hard to believe. And I haven't seen it, and I'm a type of guy that, you know, sometimes I need to see things to believe it. You know what I mean? It's kind of how I am. And I'm super naive. I'll admit I'm a naive person. I've always kind of stayed in my own lane, and I'm not a dummy, but I'm also not well versed in a lot of like political things and crap like that. It's just never really interested me. So I know I'm naive, but I find it hard to believe that they can't have pumps say $10 a gallon. Not that I want $10 a gallon. Don't get me wrong. I don't want that. But The video I made on my birthday Saturday will premiere today at 10 a.m. Pacific. Chase this. Oh, cool. You know, I watched a video of a guy that turned his Corvette. His Corvette runs on hydrogen, right? Yeah, runs on hydrogen. And I just saw an article the other day that Cummins is like making a motor like that, a hydrogen motor, because hydrogen, the exhaust that hydrogen produces is just steam. So it's like no emissions. And this Corvette had like 4 hydrogen tanks in it. And the interesting thing was the hydrogen that's in these tanks aren't like super explosive. You know what I mean? Where like if you were to get into an accident or something like that, it doesn't blow up that way. The guy was saying he designed this a long time ago in this Corvette, by the way. He was saying the time when he designed it, the problem he was running into is finding places that allowed him to refill the tanks with hydrogen. You know, cattle hauling's in the house. Good morning, man. Good morning. Don't call me this morning. I'm just getting done with my day, so I thought I'd go live real quick, kind of get tired. So yeah, we'll talk another day. Important business calls today. Yeah, Sterling, go to bed, man. Second time saying that. I should probably go to bed too, but I wanted to go live in my truck for the first time, and it feels like forever. It's probably only been a month, a little bit more than a month, but I wanted to go live real quick and kind of wind down. I am not the type of person that can get done driving and just climb in my bunk and fall asleep. I can't do it. And especially after I drank that cup of coffee and then had, I don't know, I probably had half a soda. So, but now I'm getting tired because I just, like, even right there, I just caught myself, like, gazing down at my soda bottle, which means I'm getting tired. So, probably end this now. Thanks, everybody, for stopping in. Cattle hauling, nice to see you. Sterling, thanks for coming in, all your comments. If you catch this on the replay and you're not subscribed to the channel, maybe subscribe, maybe give me a thumbs up. Hope everybody drives safe today. Have a great day. Yeah. No, we'll talk to you later. Take it easy, guys.